Yeah. Oppression. Pow! Unlawful deprivation of one's rights under the United States Constitution. But the unjust use of power or position in order to impose one's will upon another. Yes. Oppressive litigation. A suit brought for malicious purposes. More to hurt an opponent than to win the case. Oh. Now, these senior citizens, yeah. How do we find them? Oh, it would be every individual over the age of 65. Well, we could go through the actual physical addresses. We could go through the mailing addresses. Let's say I wanted to mail you a lawsuit. Why, I named you the senior. Yes. As the defendant? Yeah. Or is it the respondent? Mhm. Well, how do I find you? How do I find the senior citizens in Clallam County? Not all of them belong to the senior center. Ouch. Could you get me every resident of Clallam County? Yeah. Now we could go through their voter registrations. Poop. Could you call the Secretary of State of Voting? Yeah. You know, it's been said that when a senior supports you for office, yeah, we have to do what they say because they're the senior. Now, I belong to the senior center, yes, and a lot of these individuals thinks it's. Why don't you get me every individual in the senior center right now? Some of you have been putting a lizard in your rectum for the last 50 years. You know, while in jail, yes, for a crime that I had nothing to do with. Yes, I was actually on the bus that morning. Yeah. hmm And I was in the library that afternoon. Oh, I was there until 5 p.m. Yes. And I sent an email at 4:48 p.m. Yes. And instead of letting me sue right now, you decided to take bribes from the senior community of this community. Yes. So as to continue to pay yourselves to obstruct the laws of the United States. Now, every day you said, well, it doesn't matter what he does. Right! I think it does. Oh, I think I'm going to actually use the courts of the United States. Why don't you give me the voter registrations of every individual over the age of 65 for the last 40 years? Why don't you give me their personal residences, their bank accounts? Ouch! Their credit cards? Ouch! Why don't you get me their personal VIN numbers?